Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Lexi out here. It's Thursday Think Tank, and we had controversy mushroom up yesterday about the Clippers and Kawhi Leonard and Steve Ballmer. And it's loosely Raptors news because of Kawhi's history with us and also his departure. But actually, this story isn't about when he left the Raptors. The story's since then, but this story does kind of show the way Steve Ballmer operates his company, his team, his franchise. And, they need to investigate this. And it seems like they may need to go investigate other people too. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see. I'm not holding my breath on anything. In some ways, we live in a world where the rich get away with whatever they want to do at this point, which is kind of crazy and messed up. But let's see if Adam Silver has checks and balances and will penalize Steve Ballmer for apparently paying Kawhi Leonard outside the salary cap with a no appearance contract, just a bullshit contract, just to give him an extra 28 million on the side. It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah. When this happened in the past with Minnesota, when Joe Smith, there was very severe punishment, very, very severe punishment to the point where they suspended Kevin McHale as a general manager for a whole entire season. They did not allow Glenn Taylor as the owner to do a whole bunch of stuff. And they voided the contract of Joe Smith that was signed that was illegal. Yeah, it was crazy. It was a very heavy-handed uh, punishment. Now, Minnesota is a smaller market, not as prestigious. In some ways, they couldn't fight it off. Maybe Steve Ballmer could pay a whole army of lawyers to protect him and keep him out. The initial statements by the Clippers are that they did nothing wrong and that everything will be proven that they did nothing wrong with this situation with Kawhi. It's crazy. Apparently, the contract is public. Pablo Torre finding it and put it on blast, and people can go look at it. I think Logical Raptors fanatic was pouring over it yesterday, as he's due to do when there's a big document of hundreds of pages. This man likes to go look at it, and he was looking at it with a finer detail. And he's saying that some of it was really crazy and very, very obvious what the Clippers were doing there. So I don't know. The ball's in your court, Adam Silver. What are you going to do about this, man? Spurs fans put a poll up on their Facebook group yesterday, and the majority of them, 70% of them, said that Steve Ballmer should be kicked out as an owner in the NBA. This would be crazy because if that happened, that would be the second owner unceremoniously kicked out in Adam Silver's tenure for that franchise, the LA Clippers. It's also would be one of the craziest things because this guy just spent so much money on this huge new arena that they just opened up brand new last year. I don't know what's going to happen. This is a very interesting situation. In some ways, I'm getting ready to just see nothing happen. Really, seriously. I'm that jaded, I guess, on this kind of thing that I don't think anything's going to happen with this. I think that this is just a bunch of hot air. In some ways, it could very well be totally true, but I don't know if anybody's actually going to get punished or anything will be done about it because in some ways it may be more trouble publicly for Adam Silver to acknowledge that it happened and punish people than to just say, you know what, nothing, this is nothing, sweep it under the rug. You know? Does that seem like that? I mean, it's crazy, man. It is crazy. Yeah, in some ways the Clippers are caught dead to rights. Well, let's see if Adam Silver cares enough. If he does, hopefully he'll have some strong sanctions against them. I don't know. In some ways, it doesn't get us stuff. Everybody's saying, oh, the Raptors should get stuff because of this. In some ways, remember, this is the thing. They clarified this. And I appreciate Josh Lewenberg for doing this on Blue Sky yesterday. He clarified that, this is stemming from the 2021 contract that Kawhi signed, not the 2019 one that he signed after he left Toronto to go to LA, the initial one. No, this is for the year 2021, 2 years after he left Toronto. But it can show you an insight into how Steve Ballmer and the Clippers have been operating above the rules and not really trying to follow them. And, Josh also added in his tweet yesterday on Blue Skies that, yeah, this scandal itself may not have anything to do with the Raptors, but let's not get it twisted. You guys know the Clippers tampered with Kawhi Leonard during our championship year. This is a member of TSN, a bona fide broadcaster on the media covering the Raptors all the time, the investigative reporter, saying, yeah, we all know this. We've known this all along for 6 years now, that the Clippers tampered with Kawhi Leonard. They sent Steve Ballmer and sent Lawrence Frank and Doc Rivers to meet with Kawhi during the championship year the Raptors had with him, totally breaking tampering rules. But nobody cared at that time because the end of the goal was that Silver didn't want Kawhi in Toronto because he didn't want the Raptors to be a top team for years to come, like a very top team, like one of the top 3 teams for like 4 or 5 years. So in some ways, Adam Silver was very much an invisible hand guiding that situation. So maybe he looked the other way with the way the Clippers were trying to entice Kawhi from Toronto to the Clippers, because in some ways that's what he wanted the storyline to be in the league, which is kind of messed up because, Steph and Draymond have played for their team for over decades, and they've been allowed to flourish and just stay on their team. But the Raptors weren't allowed to even have their finals MVP for more than 1 year. It's messed up, man. There's messed up stuff to it. But yeah, Josh Lindbergh, thank you for distinguishing that this deal was for the 2021 deal and not for the deal after he left Toronto. But he is acknowledging that tampering did occur probably with the Clippers and Kawhi Leonard during our championship year. All right, let me check in with you guys on the comments. I do have my phone, and the phone line is open. So you can call at any time during the show today, and I will put you on the air for the show as far as like, here, get your opinion on the Kawhi situation. Get your opinion on what you think should happen to Steve Ballmer and the Clippers. Get your opinion on whether you think this is something else that's going on in other places. Get your opinion on anything Raptors related. We can talk today. Call me in, talk RJ Barrett, Scotty Barnes, Emmanuel Quickly, Brandon Ingram. Let's talk some Raptors. Let's talk some NBA. The Raptor Freak Thursday Think Tank is open. So let's hear what you think. So give me the call. If you have access to the phone number, you can call me. If you don't, well, you better become a member, because then you can call the call-in show. If you're a member of the channel or a longtime Raptor Freak that's been a member of the family for a while, you can come in and talk anytime. That's right. James came in first this morning. Raptor Freak James, good morning to you, sir. Maybe other teams are doing this as well on a smaller scale. Jalen Brunson got $25 million for 4 years. He's worth way more than that. Now, did he get $25 million for all 4 years, or did he get 25 per year? I don't know. I think it's 25 per year. Yeah, because he's really kind of a $30 or $40 million player, but he's taking 25 on a discount. Now, this was publicized about this, and the press said, oh, what a benevolent guy, a team guy. He's going to take a pay cut to keep the team of the Knicks together more so they can get more assets. I mean, this is a move that people like Tim Duncan have done in the past. The whole core of the Spurs were very team friendly with their deals, as far as Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, and Tim Duncan. They very much were taking lower deals so that they could have people like Kawhi Leonard and Danny Green and other people around on the team with them. So in some ways, Jalen Brunson doing this, I don't see anything wrong with this, as long as there isn't some sort of hidden payment like what we're talking about with Kawhi. That's the thing. Like if there's some sort of weird sham contract with James Dolan and Jalen Brunson, where he's getting paid extra money that's off the cap that we don't see, and it's making up for the discount that he's taken to be a Knick, well, that's a bad thing. And this is what Adam Silver said years ago. He said salary cap circumvention is one of the biggest cardinal sins a team can do in the NBA. And that's what this is, guys. The salary cap is a rule so that every team has a certain same rules to parameters to work within. And the Knicks have shown in the past that they're willing to break rules and look for loopholes to try and do things a little bit better or different or have an advantage over people. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if what Steve Ballmer did with Kawhi Leonard is happening in New York. And apparently, Pablo Torre believes that that may be true also because he's investigating Jalen Brunson. He is. He said, yeah, and I've got something on Jalen Brunson now. Now, that Pablo Torre guy, I appreciate his investigativeness. I appreciate him blowing the whistle on this Kawhi situation. I appreciate him unearthing this. But I don't appreciate him being a Trojan horse for hate against progressive people. Listen, Pablo, man, listen, and I understand I'm a politicized channel on my channel. I talk about things and I'm very, very left in my views politically. But I think that we need to understand that when somebody uses the term lib, that is not a friendly term. That's a slur. That's a slur. Nobody in the liberal side calls each other libs. I don't call my friends that are liberal, like myself, libs. No, we don't call each other libs. The only time you ever hear somebody use the word libs is when they're using it in a derogatory, hateful term towards a group. And well, Pablo Torre is guilty of this on his podcast. At the beginning of the podcast, when he starts setting up the whole story about Steve Ballmer and Kawhi, he calls people libs. Oh, these stupid libs or something like that. Listen, you're a tool for the MAGA bullshit right now. And you've got to understand it's a slippery slope and dangerous when you start othering groups and you start calling progressive leftish people the libs. You know, the whole owning the libs thing is gross, disgusting, and honestly a sign that humanity is just declining, honestly. Because if you want to own people that love other people and want to help other people, and that's their general main focus in the world and help the environment and their giving and stuff like that, well, then you hate love. You hate people that are actually trying to help the situation, trying to fix things. And you're selfish and you're an asshole. So I got to give a two-finger salute to Pablo Torre this morning. Fuck you, Pablo Torre, for using the term libs in a derogatory way and having a little laugh with your two little man group on your stupid ass show. That is dangerous because if you don't understand this, Pablo Torre, you know, the way you're talking, MAGA wants to come around and get other people after they get the immigrants. And if y'all start othering libs and start feeding into the othering of people, you may be feeding into very nasty, ugly, dark-sided things happening in the future. So anybody who's using the term libs, that's basically to me like using the N word, like using the R word, like using the M word with little people. It's a slur. So understand if you use that term in your own personal life, understand that you're kind of using a slur against left people. And in some ways that should be treated as so, because we're not using that term on the left side. That is only used by people that hate us. So anybody who's using the term libs, you are a part of the problem and you are helping Donald Trump in the MAGA machine that's anti-woke. So just stop. Get rid of that term in your life, like you get rid of that R word that Elon uses in his tweets and makes him look like an 8-year-old that has to still wets his bed. Let's just put it that way. Don't, you know, we talk about the N word. The N word is a word that people shouldn't be using either. Now, I'm not saying that the word lib is as bad as those words. I'm just saying it's in the same category. That's what I'm saying. I'm just saying it's in the same category as othering. And I'm disappointed in Pablo Torre. Because in some ways, bro, you are being used as a method to do a couple of different things there. You're a Trojan horse. You inserted that term at the beginning of your podcast. It turned me off right away. I was like, man, what the fuck is this bullshit? This motherfucker is talking about libs. Like, who the fuck are you, Pablo? Seriously. And why are you feeding into the oligarchs and the machine and the bullshit that we're trying to fight against by perpetuating that term? Seriously. And then he went on to decry the company that the Clippers used to defraud the NBA, which was something kind of aspiration or something like that. And it's a tree company. And there were a lot of celebrities involved in it. And they were saying, oh, this is just a dumb leftist idea of it was a scam in trees. No, it was a good idea in theory. But the the project was run by a scam artist who did scam people. But don't get it twisted. Most of this environmental tree kind of programs are good for the world, but in some ways, this is a bad publicity for this kind of stuff. This Steve Ballmer, Kawhi collusion bullshit. And but don't get it twisted. Saving trees, planting trees, having the ideals of what that company was supposed to do is a good thing. So I don't like the Trojan horse of Pablo Torre's podcast, because what's going to happen is everybody's going to see this Kawhi story. They're going to want to go hear what he has to say. He's going to get huge views. And right from the start, he uses a slur against progressives. And then he goes on a tirade about how green initiatives are just a fraud. And fuck you, man. Fuck you for that. Just stick to the fucking facts of Kawhi, Steve Ballmer, and the Clippers, and stop politicizing that situation. Because honestly, that situation is not political. That is not a political situation. That is just, it's honestly, if it's political, it's an oligarch fucking breaking the rules and getting caught illegally. That's what it is. Regardless of who's left or right or whatever it doesn't matter. What matters is that they broke the rules, and Adam Silver needs to come and see about it. That's what matters. But Pablo Torre wants to throw in political jargon and fucked up shit and messaging because he's going to collect a lot of views all of a sudden. Fuck you, Pablo Torre, for being a Trojan horse. Fuck you for that. I appreciate you for blowing the whistle, but man, you shouldn't have fucking been doing that. Seriously, that's my rant on that. 2-finger salute for Pablo Torre, even though he's being a Geraldo Rivera right now. Seriously. Maybe that's not the right person to talk. Words of wisdom this morning, Commissioner of Fun, Trevor J. Sometimes life's journey looks dark and scary, but sometimes you have to take a journey alone to come out on the other side. Yeah, I know about this one. My life path is crazy, man. I'm supposed to experiment in life and kind of, fuck up. I found this thing, like I went on this date with this girl, and she taught me about human design. And I'm like, what the hell is this crap? Like, what is this? And I learned about it, and I looked up my human design, and it told me that, Lex, you're supposed to fuck up and be a fuck up. And it kind of felt better. I was like, wow, Lex, you're actually supposed to be a fuck up. That is actually in your human design. Boy, a lot of pressure came off of there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, life's journey is different for everybody. Everybody's kind of gonna have like different paths. Well, my path is not the easiest. Let's just put it that way. My path is full of isolation and aloneness. And I'm just, in some ways, it's not that I'm used to it. It's just that in some ways I've accepted my path. Let's just put it that way. But yeah, it's tough, man. Whatever your path is, hopefully your path is full of family and fun and warmth and closeness and all that kind of stuff. This guy right here, it's not what I got. That's right. Sometimes life's journey looks dark and scary, but sometimes you have to take a journey alone to come out on the other side. Yeah, my journey is alone, Trevor. That's just what they told me. It's just got to be that way. That's right. Let's see. Long Island Nets going to play 4 games in Montreal this season. That's right. That is exactly right. They did this last year, actually. The Nets played a few home games for their G League team in Montreal last year, and they're going to do it again this year. I guess it was a big hit. People may be asking, why would they have the Nets play their G League games in Montreal? Why wouldn't they do it with the Raptors? Well, because this is the thing. If they're trying to develop the community for basketball in Montreal, they don't want us to be Raptors, because they want it to be a rivalry between the Raptors and whoever ends up in Montreal. So I see 2 different paths with Montreal as an NBA city. Well, it could actually be that at some point the Long Island Nets become the Montreal Nets. Seriously, think about that. If they're not going to add a full-fledged NBA franchise in the city of Montreal, they could just switch the Long Island Nets out of Long Island and put them in Montreal and be the Montreal Nets, and the G League team for the Nets plays out of Canada. That could happen. This is part of this test. In some ways, this is like Adam Silver wants to test Montreal's market, obviously, because he's really seriously considering them for expansion. But also at the same time, what if they just move the G League team there, and that's what they try to do to have NBA/G League in that city? We'll have to see. But I mean, they keep doing it, so it's obviously been successful. The Raptors come to Montreal and play a preseason game. It sells out, and it goes crazy. And these G League games have been interesting. Like, I've watched them. When the Raptors play the Nets in Montreal, it's crazy because some ways the crowd is for the Raptors. Seriously. Like, it's supposed to be a Nets home game, but Raptors 905 gets a pretty good cheer on everything they do. So it's kind of a 50-50 split on the crowd when the 905 play the Long Island Nets in Montreal. Because some of the people are actually rooting for the Nets because in some ways they change the Nets stuff into French and they make a big deal out of it. And they try and I don't know if it's Adam Silver trying to take away from the market for the Raptors in Canada by saying, Montreal, maybe you guys shouldn't be for Toronto so much. Yeah, Leafs, Canadians, Expos, Blue Jays, because in some ways they might want to parse out that city from Raptors Nation in the whole of the country and have more rooting interest for just the city of Montreal, regardless of Long Island Nets. Maybe the Long Island Nets is just, one of their teams. Just like the Bills came and played here at the Sky Dome, some NFL games. Just like, we've had different teams come up. They talked about having the Devil Rays come up here and play in Canada. Didn't happen, but there was a lot of talk about moving Tampa Bay Devil Rays up north for some games while they renovated Tropicana Stadium. So, the Long Island Nets playing in Montreal makes sense to me. And they did it last year. And it's a fun environment because they fill that arena up pretty good and they get lively. Some of them, as I said, are rooting for 905. Some of them start rooting for Long Island Nets. They're actually taken to it. Very, very interesting. G's here. Good morning to G, our original Rapper Freak trivia champion. Apparently, Larry Tannenbaum lined up real sponsors for $15 million and was beside himself when Kawhi left. He told the NBA and he was told he didn't understand the rules, shaking my head. So, yep, they favor teams 100%. Now, the thing with Larry, where is the line? I don't totally understand this. Because if Larry Tannenbaum is a local businessman here in Toronto who knows a lot of people, and, the one I'm thinking about that summer is the cargo jet contract. Because that shit happened. It was really weird timing when Kawhi got the cargo jet account. They made a big deal out of it before. And I'm wondering if this is one of those deals that you're talking about with Larry Tannenbaum. Did Larry Tannenbaum set up Kawhi Leonard during the Quine and Dine era that summer with a big contract to endorse cargo jet before he left? Now, this is the thing. He didn't stay in Toronto. He's kept that cargo jet contract, and I think he still got paid for it. So in some ways, look, that's a separate kind of entity thing. And he actually did work to represent cargo jet in that contract to justify him getting paid for it? Or was this what we're talking about today? Was Steve Ballmer just making up a bullshit thing to give him money on the side outside the salary cap? I don't know. Larry Tannenbaum, if he set him up with that cargo jet contract, Kawhi, I think he followed through with actually representing and getting paid for things he actually did. Like, he didn't just get a non-appearance contract like what Steve Ballmer did with Aspiration. No, I think he actually did do advertising and promotion of cargo jet before he left Toronto in that July of 2019. There were other players that actually signed on with cargo jet too at different times around the Raptors to do the same kind of thing. Now, I don't know. Is that one of those things? Where does the lines cross? What if Nab Bhatia comes up to a Raptor and says, "Hey, I want you to be in a Hyundai commercial and I'm going to pay you $1 million to be in my Hyundai commercials"? I don't know. This is the kind of thing where the lines need to be very well drawn. And the differences in what is allowed and what isn't need to be very well understood. And, if Larry Tannenbaum's not totally understanding the gray areas, that's a problem because he's the board of governors. He's like the head of the owners. So if he's not understanding that, there's something wrong there. I don't think he didn't understand. I think that Larry knew what he's doing. And, if Adam Silver had to talk to him, a little brushback, say, no, you can't do that, Larry. Well, they're always trying to gain edges and push the limits of what's possible in the NBA. Everybody is. It's competitive. It's very, very competitive. Yeah. G saying this is now too public for them to not investigate, but Ballmer put out a letter, very well written, clearly by lawyers. Well, he's the sixth richest man in the world. He better have lawyers to come out and try and put the storm out. They got to get in front of it. And of course, the first move in these kind of situations with allegations is to deny them and to come out and say, we will unequivocally prove that these allegations are false and there's no merit. Shit like that. They're going to do that, of course. In some ways, this is the rich person's world where they can, I'm above the rules. Let me make the rules afterwards, Adam Silver. Adam Silver, come talk to me. I'm Steve Ballmer. Yeah, I just helped build this bathroom museum. There's a ton of bathrooms here in my bathroom museum. I have so many bathrooms. If you have to go, just go. It's around the corner. There's actually one right behind you, too. There's one to the left of you also. And, listen. Clear your head. Here, listen, man. Listen. Kawhi is great. You love Kawhi. Listen, you love him in LA. You know you didn't want him in Toronto. I helped you out. Come on, man. Can't you let this slide, Adam? Listen, Steve, this looks really bad. This Pablo Torre guy is a real troublemaker. And in some ways, I have to do something. Listen, Adam. Come on. You don't have to do jack shit. Just make up a rule and say that I didn't do anything wrong, and we'll sweep it under the rug. You know what? You're right. You're rich, and you're right. Let's go. All right, boom. It's like that. It's like that. I don't know. The rules are clearly defined, but the rules in this world don't get played by rich people anymore, by oligarchs, by 1%. I can move a bridge because I'm Jeff Bezos and I'm having a honeymoon and I want to move a bridge. I'm going to buy Venice for the day and I'm going to just kick everybody out and I'm going to have a Venice day for my love. Bullshit like that. It's shit like that. That's bullshit, man. That's right. Name is saying such a great decision to get rid of this cancer away from our team. And Bobby, we trust. And Masai, we trust too. To all, we love you, Masai. In the post-Masai era, we never forget Masai Ujiri's impact on our team and the culture and the way that the Raptors are a bona fide respected entity. This is a big, big part of Masai Ujiri's legacy. And F you, Ed Rogers III. Fuck you, Ed Rogers III. For firing Masai Ujiri for no reason, and you still got to pay him $15 million this year. Yeah, you idiot. You got to pay a man $15 million to go and be a humanitarian with the UN. That's right. Rightfully so. Pay him that $15 million. That's right. Trevor J saying this. Clippers coming going to snitch. What? Clippers coming going to snitch on the rest of the league. If he is doing it, everybody else is doing it. Clippers owner is the word you're meaning to say. Clippers owner going to snitch on the rest of the league. I don't know, man. Steve Ballmer is a weird guy. He's like a big kid. He gets so excited. And in some ways, maybe he didn't understand what he did is wrong. Maybe he didn't. Maybe he's dumb. I don't know. Even if he snitches on them, well, what's going to happen? I mean, this will be like a Donaghy thing. I'm telling you. This is an isolated incident. Jonte Porter, nobody else is gambling on the sport. This is an isolated incident. Tim Donaghy, none of the other refs are gambling on the sport. This is an isolated incident. Steve Ballmer, nobody else is doing this. This is an isolated incident. Donald Sterling, none of the other owners are racist. Nah, Adam Silver don't like a lot of controversy. If there's one controversy pops up like this, he's a lawyer. He's supposed to make it go away and help the brand of the NBA not get damaged. So, yeah, this doesn't seem like it's going away. Everybody's talking about it. It's like the Epstein files. And in some ways, ESPN, I was wondering if ESPN is going to post this yesterday. I was wondering. We knew about it in the morning. We talked about it on the channel. But ESPN hadn't posted jack shit about Steve Ballmer and Kawhi Leonard until like afternoon. They didn't post it till like 12:30 yesterday. And I'm wondering if they were like, maybe they were working with the NBA office on like, do we let this out? Do we add to this or not? Man, everybody's talking about it. We're going to look stupid if we don't fucking post it. We're going to look like we're not on top of things if we don't post it. All right, we better post it. I hope Adam's not pissed at us. And then they put it in then. The article is weird, man. I'm looking at it this morning. The article on it, and they do have Steve Ballmer's reply in which he says, neither Mr. Ballmer nor the Clippers circumvented the salary cap or engaged in any misconduct related to aspiration, the Clippers said. Any contrary assertion is probably false. Probably. They misspelled probably. They put a V instead of a B. And I was making a joke yesterday. It's like, that means that what their statement is not, they can disqualify it because they have a spelling error. They don't mean probably. They said probably. So that means that it's not probably. Because it's probably. So stupid. It's so stupid. It's funny. The team ended its a relationship with aspiration years ago. Bullshit. It wasn't that long ago. During the 2022-2023. Yeah, that's 2 years ago, motherfucker. It's like 2 years. 2 years ago. When aspiration defaulted on its obligations, neither the Clippers nor Mr. Ballmer was aware of any improper activity by aspiration or its co-founders until after the government instituted its investigation. The team and Mr. Ballmer stand ready to assist law enforcement in any way they can. This is so crazy, man. Aspiration paid Kawhi Leonard $28 million to do nothing. Nothing. And they talk about the Timberwolves getting in trouble. That's right. Listen, actually, they are adding something here, guys, about the Raptors and Kawhi. This wasn't on the article yesterday. They got added on. The NBA fined the Clippers $50,000 in May 2019 for violating tampering rules after the Clippers head coach, Doc Rivers, made public remarks comparing Leonard, who was with the Raptors, to Michael Jordan. So they actually did get fined for tampering with us. I didn't know this. I don't remember them announcing this, that they fined Doc Rivers $50,000 for making a Kawhi Leonard comment during the season, just for making the comment, not for coming and seeing him. So they did get fined for tampering with Kawhi, the Clippers. I didn't even know that. I don't remember them ever announcing this shit. Seriously, the NBA investigated the Clippers after allegations emerged that Leonard and his camp, led by Uncle Dennis, made improper requests of teams during his free agency in the summer of 2019. Such requests, the Athletic reported at the time, included part ownership of team, access to private plane, a house, and guaranteed off-court endorsement money. That's what that $28 million is, the guaranteed off-court endorsement money. The NBA again fined for the Clippers $50,000 in November 2019 for comments that Rivers made that were inconsistent with Leonard's health. So they've been fined about Kawhi Leonard a few times, man. They've been fined a few times. So there's a lot in here, man. This is interesting. Interesting. I didn't know they added on that part with the tampering with us. That's very interesting. Very, very interesting. James is saying, can we get a first-round pick? Well, I don't think that we're tied in with this investigation. I think that Raptors fans saw the news yesterday and they just thought, oh, we're involved and we're going to get something for this. But I don't think we are involved in this. This is after Kawhi was already in LA, and he had been there for 2 years when this particular scandal happened. So I don't think we're directly in line for compensation for this. So don't expect anything for us, Raptors fans. Sorry about that, James. Sorry about that. G saying the fact that they asked Larry to run around trying to get even more money is actually disgusting. Larry had to convince companies to invest in Kawhi, and Kawhi made him look bad. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that was that whole summer of Kawhi and Dine, man. Kawhi was like, yeah, you know what? In some ways, like, a lot of people have said he was never, ever going to stay. Like, seriously, they knew that when they brought him in that they were getting him for a 1-year rental, and that's why we had to go all out. Nick Nurse has said in interviews that he knew Kawhi wasn't coming back in November of that season, like way earlier in the season, at the beginning of the season. Nick knew that Kawhi was not going to come back, and they all kind of knew it on the down low all the way through the championship run, which is crazy to think. Crazy to think that this idiot, could go all the way through, have that success, and still, he could have changed his mind, but he didn't. And, well, he's stupid for it. He's stupid for it. It is what it is. Let's see. Infamous saying, salute, freaks. This makes Masai look real good. I think so. But, in this situation, people are going to turn this in all kinds of different ways, perception-wise, to try and hurt the Raptors and the way they look. But in some ways, I don't know. In some ways, we're clear of this. It is Kawhi, and the Clippers look really, really bad, and Kawhi looks bad too. Infamous. You wanted to call me on the show a couple weeks ago. Call me today. The phone line's open. I'd love to hear your voice and any opinions you have to say today, especially on this topic we're talking about today. It also makes a lot of sense what Masai said when Kawhi left. Yeah, I like that our I like that our franchise was very strong with its demeanor and kind of like saying, no, we're a well-run franchise. We're not going to stoop to this bullshit and allow Kawhi to be the GM. We're not going to stoop to allowing Uncle Dennis an official title in our front office. We're not going to stoop to going and getting Russell and Paul George just for you. No, we're not doing this. We have a plan. Bobby Webster, Masai Ujiri had a plan with Teresa Resch and Dan Tolzman and all the rest of the people around the Raptors franchise. They had a plan that they had been working on that had been going on since 2014. And Dwayne Casey and DeMar DeRozan were part of that plan for a while, and then they had to go. And then Kawhi came in for a year, and he was part of that plan. But you know what? He didn't have to be part of that plan once he started to come in and say, I want to write the plan now from now on if you want me to stay. No, Masai and Bobby had their own plans and ideas for how to run the team, and they didn't want Leonard to run the team. They did not want Leonard to run the team. That's right. Nako's saying Blake Griffin is a real cool guy. That's just a non sequitur out of the blue. Listen, Blake Griffin is a comedian. He's funny. He does a lot of TV shows. He does a lot of movies. He's been in a lot of movie appearances, and he's made a real ass of himself at times. And it's funny. It is funny. He has a sense of humor. He's a very sense of humor kind of guy, and he's made a lot of appearances on TV. Have y'all watched that Clipper documentary series, right? That one where Lawrence Fishburne plays Doc Rivers? Yeah, well, it's funny how they portray Blake Griffin in that clipped show. It's really funny how they portray him. He was basically like Donald Sterling's little show-off guy. Like they're having a party, and Chris Paul's hanging out talking to like DeAndre Jordan and other Clippers, and they're talking about how Blake is such a kiss ass. Like, well, Blake is always kissing Donald Sterling's ass. Look at how he runs him around like a little trained monkey, kind of like, hey, do the little performance in front of the people in front of in the party. Yeah, it's like, and Donald wouldn't let Blake Griffin, get away from him. Why am I even talking about Blake Murphy? He's on baseball mode. He ain't talking no Raptors. But Blake Griffin, he was kind of like the person that Donald Sterling used to show off. It was kind of humiliating what he used to do to Blake Griffin. Blake Griffin's a nice guy. In some ways, he is a really funny guy. I don't like him myself. That's mainly because he played for teams I always hated. And he was somebody that, in some ways I respect his career early on for his athleticism and the crazy lobs and the dunks he did with the Clippers and Chris Paul. But his later career, when he got hurt, he was not a very good player. Let's just put it that way. He was not a very good player when he wasn't able to get off the ground. Kaloy saying, morning, Raptor Freak family. And Les. Yeah. I love it. Infamous saying this had happened before in the league to the Timberwolves with Joe Smith. Yeah. And if they're going to follow the rules of that, this is going to be a big time thing. The money that Joe Smith got extra is nothing like $28 million. I forget how much money Joe Smith got. In some ways, it was like not anything like this. Let me see. Where is the part about Joe Smith? No. Yeah, this is ridiculous. They don't have the total. Oh, they were going to pay him. They don't say. It was a multi-million-dollar deal if he signed with the team on a shorter contract for less money. See, that's the way they do it. They fudge it. And that's why they're looking at Brunson. It's like guys who take smaller contracts suspiciously, and then they're like getting compensated outside of the team. That's a big no-no. And that's kind of what's happened here with Kawhi. That's what's happened here. It's very, very interesting. Nako's saying could have been something they talked about in 2019 and didn't do it until 2021 to keep some eyes off them. Well, the part of the contract that's been exposed by Pablo is there's things that wrote in it, like Mike looked at it yesterday. He was talking about it on Discord a lot yesterday. And Mike was really going over this whole Kawhi thing really well. And I got to give Logical Raptors fanatic credit for that because this is his thing. But he was saying that there's something in the contract where Steve Ballmer made it very clear that Kawhi only gets these endorsement money for no appearances, for nothing, this extra money from endorsements, as long as he's a Clipper. As long as he's a Clipper. And the contract terminology made it very clear that this is all stipulated on as long as he's playing for the Clippers franchise. That's the difference between maybe the cargo jet with the Raptors and Kawhi and what this is that like these are endorsement deals with aspiration, 28 million, but this should be separate from the Clippers altogether. But in that contract, for him to get the 28 million from aspiration, he had to be a Los Angeles Clipper. So that's very illegal right there. Now, did Kawhi get the money from Cargo Jet even though he chose LA? Yes. He still got paid by Cargo Jet and doing the endorsement that Larry set him up before he left. So that's a totally different thing because he actually endorsed it. He actually didn't play for the team in the market where he endorsed it. So that was all on the up and up. Now, this is different. He didn't do any endorsing for aspiration. He just got paid on the side. And an employee of aspiration actually came around and told Pablo Torre, yeah, that was to help pay for extra money for him outside the salary cap. And they told him that. So, oh man, they're in trouble, bro. They're in trouble. If they can get proved, and if Pablo Torre has the actual like real evidence, Adam Silver is going to have to deal with this, man. And in some ways, T. Ballmer, well, we'll see how much he could weather the storm of the punishment, because it could really hurt the Clippers franchise for a while. You know, that Joe Smith stuff on the down low hurt the Timberwolves for a while, guys. It really, really did. Really, really did. Kaz is here. Good morning to Trucker Kaz. Good morning, Lex and Raptor Freak crew. I don't think the league is going to do anything. And if they do, it's going to be a slap on the wrist. I'm with you, Lex. Yeah, I don't know. I want them to punish them. Don't get me wrong. I'm just, in some ways, I may be jaded, cynical, pessimistic that they will. But don't get me wrong. If they do, that'd be interesting to see what they do. Because in some ways, like, look, this is the thing, Adam Silver. If you don't punish him, well, we see what happens when you don't punish people correctly for bad things that they do. We see what happens. You let people get away with shit. All of a sudden, you got fucked up people in the White House again. So you've got to punish him, man. Because the lesson in life right now is bad deeds, bad things going bad, not fully punished and done the right way. Well, they can come around and do bad things again. So Adam Silver, you may need to make an example of Steve Ballmer in this situation, like you made an example of Jonte Porter. Yeah, you might need to, seriously. Because if you don't, and you say, oh, this is just business as usual now in the NBA, well, your league might go to shit if it's all green light on what Steve Ballmer just did. Seriously, it's going to be not a good thing. Trucker Kaz is here. Let's check in on our WNBA fantasy, where I'm playing Kaz in the championship round right now, and he is kicking my butt. Last night, he had a huge night, and he's got a 100-point lead now, just under 100. It's a 95-point lead. So, man, 430 to 335. Trucker Kaz is going for that championship. He's on his way. I don't know, man. I'm going to have a hard time making up. See, this is the thing. Kaz has been averaging like 800 points a week, and I'm averaging like 600. So this man is projected to beat me. He is, and he is beating me right now. In the third place game, Meredith is beating Kareem, but not by much. It's only a 12-point game. So the third place trophy is very much in play between Full Ass and MK. In the fifth place game, Cool Cat has a narrow margin over JP. That one's very competitive there. Fierce C has got a good lead in the seventh place game against Logical. And then James is actually winning this week, trouncing We the Best Race Mode Daily in the consolation bracket. There are 3 games in the WNBA tonight. Here's your ref report. Phoenix at Washington. Kevin Fahey is a crew chief with Paul Toomey and Gerda Gatling. Dallas is at Golden State Valkyries with Amy Bonner as the crew chief, with Jenna Renault and Teresa Stuck. And Minnesota Lynx, the number 1 team in the league, are going to go visit the Las Vegas Aces tonight. Tierra Cruz is the crew chief with Ashley Gloss and Catherine Chang. There's your WNBA check-in. Yeah, it's championship week. We play until the 11th, and then the season will be over, and then it'll be at WNBA playoffs, and we'll have a new champion. And it's looking like it's going to be Kaz. It's looking like it's going to be Kaz, man. Trucker Kaz has done a fantastic job this year in the WNBA fantasy. Everyone was saying this needs to be a very harsh punishment. I'm with you, man. You want to call me up and tell me? Let's make up what the punishment is. We like, yeah, we're going to rake him over coals. We're going to take his bathrooms and we'll clog them all up in the whole entire place. And then we'll flood the whole entire Intuit Dome. Yeah, we're going to be creative with this. We're going to kick you out and we're going to add a non-racist android replacement of Donald Sterling that looks like Donald Sterling, but he's not racist. He's nice. And he's like anti-racist. He comes in and he's like very kind to everyone. Yeah, we're going to replace you, Steve Ballmer, with the anti-racist Donald Sterling android. What is that? I was like, no, listen, it's therapeutic for the people that had to work under Donald Sterling. Let him go hang around with Chris Paul for a little while, please. He might need this. Seriously. Oh, hi, Donald. Oh, wait. I was like, hello, Chris. I love you. I love all human beings are created equal. It'd be crazy. All right, listen, guys, we got this segment on this show we do called The Four Quarters with the Sheriff Seymour Pape, and this is who we got calling in from the Central Mountain Time. Let's right, sir. How are you today?
What's going on? I'm pretty good. Just loading up all these school stuff, getting these school supplies and stuff out to these kids, you know.
I want to talk about this. Now, we were talking about school supplies the other day because it's back to school, and I was confused because you were talking about school supplies meaning like your threads, your clothes, like coming to school. And I was talking about books and stuff. What's that?
Yeah, I wasn't one for buying pencils. You got the hammer on the nail when you said about the guy borrowing the pencil from the kid sitting next door. Yeah, that was me. I'm guilty of that.
He showed up. This is the thing. The Sheriff Seymour Pape would go to the first day of school, and he looked the flyest at everybody out there, but he did not have a pad and pencil, and he was asking his neighbor. He's like, yo, bro, please, I'll get you back. Seriously. And I'm sure you did get them back.
What happened? I'll tell you why it was like that. So
yeah, when
I got to junior high, they gave you a paper and you got to choose what high school you wanted to go to. So they said, pick your first and second option. And then the third one was like a honorary mention or whatever.
Okay.
So my teacher wrote what school I was going to in my high school. And I'm sitting there like, wait a minute. I thought we get to pick what high school we get to go to. But she had a hatred for me because when I would come to class and shit, I would always have different like U.S. colleges, shirts and sweaters and jackets.
Sure, like so Florida State.
Florida State, my North Carolina.
Okay, yeah.
I had a lot of Georgetown, all those U.S. colleges and universities.
Right.
And I think she was very pro-Canadian even back then.
Oh.
She sort of had a hatred on me because, like, even when it was detention time, like Friday when it was supposed to stay after school, shit, I was running home to go catch my mom so we can go to New York, and go shopping.
Yeah,
you know, that was my story.
That's cool, man. So, Seymour, do you want to do 4 quarters today?
Yeah, let's do it up. All right. So, first quarter, we're going first. What's your thoughts on people putting out there that Delano and Precious could possibly be coming back to the Raptors because they're notable name free agents out there? What's your thoughts on that?
You know, this is crazy that you brought this up because just this morning I was looking at the Raptors roster and I realized we have 20 guys under contract right now. We have one more spot that we can add a guy for training camp. And of course, that last guy that we add is going to have a uphill fight to get on the team, you know, but I think that Sar and Roddy are probably for sure going to get cut. But if we added like Precious to training camp all of a sudden, or Delano Banton, that would be very interesting because like Precious, nobody's going after him. Nobody's going after Precious right now. And it's crazy. Delano Banton, it's a similar kind of thing right now. I don't know what's going on with him out. I thought he was on Portland still, but that's very interesting.
There was word out of Portland that they were trying to it's a word that we don't use on this channel.
Okay.
they were trying
they were trying to T-word. Yeah.
And Delano was going out there dropping 40-point bucket nights, 30-point bucket nights, and they're
He's
like,
trying too hard.
Dude, yeah, we understand you want to look good, but that's not in the memo here.
Right. It sounds like they need more Scoot and less Delano.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And the thing with Precious, what do you think it is with Precious? Do you think it's because he looks so nonchalant in the game? Like, he doesn't look like he's trying. Like, he's not one to bust I've never seen him busting a sweat, really.
You know, it's weird. I think that you're kind of right. I think that in some ways he does come off nonchalant, and in some ways that has not served him, because in some ways some people may think, because part of it is like, look, I don't think Precious is lazy. I think Precious worked very hard when he played for the Raptors. He got after it, especially on offensive boards and on defense. But I think because he's such a great athlete, it looks easy. And in some ways, people have this weird look at him. And the other thing is, he does screw up. That's the thing. So it's like he goes all out in certain areas. He does well, but then he misses defensive assignments, or he does boneheaded like decisions on offense where we turn the ball over. That stuff makes him look bad. And the other problem with Achua for a while was he'd lose confidence. Like if he did screw up on offense, it could mess him up for the whole rest of the game with his confidence.
Yeah, you'll see his head hanging.
Yeah,
that body language is.
Yeah,
he's one of those Butterfinger BB players, man. Like a lot of the ball goes to him, and you just see it squirt out of his hand. Like
yeah. So I think it's
like what you said. It's just overexerting on certain plays on the offense. Like he's going too hard and too fast.
He had to, I think in a lot of players in the league have a natural tendency to understand the flow of the game and the tempo. But in some ways, he's such I think that's why I think he's such an amazing athlete. He can dictate the tempo to a degree, but he's not totally good at understanding when he should go or when he shouldn't. And he gets awkward for that, Does that make sense? I don't know. It's weird that he's not getting picked up. I'm really, really confused by that because he's a very good player. He's a very good player.
Yeah, and another thing, if we bring him in, right, bring in Precious, he sort of fills that same role of Boucher. I think he's gonna be a player a lot of people are gonna be like, is he gonna get minutes tonight? What's going on with, what I mean? It's just another guy that we're gonna be talking about if he comes in. Although he does everything Boucher did. Like everything that Boucher did,
he does a little bit more in some ways, but he doesn't do some of the things that Chris does with the threes. Obviously, Chris does certain things with the threes, but Precious will do better stuff for you defensively in certain ways. But if I had to choose between the two players you brought up, I would pick Delano because in some ways we need more depth at that position than at power forward. We have, what happens if we bring Achua back with Mobo? What happens with Battle? We got Sandro Mamu now. Colin Murray Boyles is probably going to play 4 too. So, and Scotty is the 4 too. So it's like having Precious on the team just kind of log jams things. We've already been there, done that. We've seen what goes on with him. I'd be more open to a reunification with Delano Banton, partly because he's Rexdale, but also partly because at his position, we could have it. He's a totally different look at that position than the guys we have on the roster right now. So he would be very novel and different than Emmanuel, Elijah, Chucky, Jamal. He'd be a different kind of point guard kind of player to have off the bench. All right, Seymour, you want to do number 2?
All right, number 2. I want to give an honorable mention to. I don't know if you guys went over it because I've been working. I just jumped in here, so
it's all good.
We gotta give our respects to Pascal, man.
Okay.
He got that honorable doctorate, thing he got from the University of New Brunswick.
Oh wow!
He went and got his bachelor degree or something like that.
Oh wow! I didn't catch that. I saw that he went to school here in Canada, and he was talking about it's like Curry School or something like that is the last name. Mm-hmm. And he was talking about at that school he liked the program there because there were Cameroonians working there. Like there's people that are involved in the program. And part of the reason why he picked that school was because there were people that were actively working there that were from Cameroon. And there was also a program that would be helpful towards Cameroonians getting degrees because the scholarship actually looks for people of African descent in that area to give a scholarship to. I didn't realize it was out there. I thought it was here in Toronto. the Clips?
No, it was University of New Brunswick.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, I knew he was in
Yeah.
Canada, and I knew that he was at a school, but I didn't know that was why. That was why. Okay, cool. Cool. Yeah, Siakam, always big love to him. He's in Amsterdam now with Red Bull doing his little filming, his fun out in the city of Europe streets, you know. So.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of people are investing into soccer teams now. I just seen an interview with Larry Nance Jr.
Mm-hmm.
I guess he went and bought a soccer team too. And I was saying that first when I read the thing, I'm like, man, this dude's just following LeBron's print. LeBron left the print because LeBron bought some soccer team. This dude's just trying to be like LeBron and some shit. But at the end of the day, I can't hate on anything anybody invests on. That's,
yeah.
And that's what they want to do with their money. So,
well, there's a lot of people doing this. I mean, Magic Johnson's got investments in so many teams at this point. He's definitely invested in soccer. He's a big time investor in the Dodgers. And, you know, there's a lot of guys doing this. OG's a part owner of the London Lions, but that's a basketball team. You know, different players are getting involved in ownership. Marc Gasol was playing on a team that he owned at the end of his playing career, you know, so, you know.
All right, let's jump to the next thing. So Cam Thomas from the Brooklyn Nets just opted in on a $6 million re-sign with Brooklyn.
Okay.
Do you think this now will open the gates for the remaining free agents? Like it's going to wake them up and say, okay, the market ain't what we think it's going to be.
Yeah,
and,
that's
more signings coming up.
I think that's a big part of what's held up people like Chris, people like Precious, people like Cam Thomas, is that they have a certain idea of what their value is, but the salary cap middle class has changed, and they're going to have to just kind of eat crow and just say, you know what, I'm not going to play for the NBA, or I'm going to take $6 million this year and play for the NBA, and that's what Cam Thomas had to do. I bet he wanted $20 million this year. And maybe
yeah, for sure, because he thinks he's the Kobe of that team right now.
Yeah. And in some ways with Cam Johnson gone, that may be opened up. I don't think it's Michael Porter. So, I mean, who knows is going to be their main guy on that team. But, you know, in some ways there's a lot of leverage with the owners and the teams now for that class of players in the middle that they can.
Did you do the starting of Igor Demon?
Igor Demon's a rookie, so it's going to take him a little while. So I don't put any franchise tag on any rookies, especially Flag, because these guys all got to prove themselves and prove that they can play at this level. So it's I can't. Cam Thomas is probably the most capable guy in Brooklyn, maybe Michael Porter Jr., one of those two. Since Cam Johnson left and went to, I forget where he went. He went to like Dallas? Did he go to? No, he went to
Denver.
He went to Denver. Yeah, that's right, because he got traded for Michael Porter Jr. Yeah, he was their best player last year, and he's gone.
They got Green Man. He's I don't know. He's not really that's just a filler. It's just somebody to fill a roster, I guess.
No, the Nets are going to be bad this year, and they're going to be even worse than last year, because last year they had Johnson and they had Schroeder for a while. They're not going to have any kind of guidance. They're going to just be a crazy mixed up team with Nicholas Claxton throwing the ball into the crowd.
Crazy.
Yeah, right. I feel bad for Jordan.
Yeah, kicking it, throwing it or kicking it into the crowd, either one.
But getting back to your original question, I do think that Cam Thomas waving the white flag and saying, I will take $6 million just to come back to the Nets is going to be kind of a sign to other people they're kind of holding out to be like, you know what, look what he just did. And there may be a little bit more dominoes falling now, for sure.
Yeah, because it's holding up Al Horford signing. It's holding up. I don't know what's going on with Kuminga.
Yeah, I have no idea with that. He really overvalues himself compared to what the owners and people want to pay him. That thing with Horford's weird. Like, he's saying he wants to play for the Lakers now all of a sudden, which is kind of strange to me since he's a Celtic, and I don't understand that totally. I thought he was all set to go to Warriors, but it seems like he's pivoting. He said he wants to go play with LeBron and the Lakers. I don't totally understand that. All right, you got a fourth quarter, sir?
Yeah, I got a fourth quarter. So we're going back to this whole Kawhi and Steve Ballmer situation.
Mm-hmm.
I think Kawhi, they're going to do something to Kawhi. He's either going to get a suspension or something. I don't think they're going to touch Ballmer. And the reason why I say that is with his new stadium he put in, I think it's 140,000 toilets or some ridiculous.
It's
number.
the most expensive stadium in the league, and it's the most new state of the art one.
Yeah, they're not going to touch him. They're not going to touch him. I
think that you may be right, but I think what they'll do is, and what did they do? They're going to fine him. I think they will fine him. I think that what they'll do is they may null and void. If we're going by what they did to the Timberwolves years ago, they'll null and void some money that's supposed to be paid to Kawhi. They're not going to suspend him, though. They're going to probably take money from Kawhi. They'll probably fine the hell out of the Clippers. And honestly, I was saying this. I was joking about this on Discord. It's like, find Steve Ballmer, who has all the money in the world. He could throw $28 million at Kawhi Leonard in the ocean and waste it because he's just sitting around. Why not fine him $100 million and let's solve USA's poverty and homelessness problems and shit like that? I mean, seriously, you get $100 million off Steve Ballmer this way, Adam Silver, turn it into charity and put it into, feeding hungry children or housing homeless. Seriously, it would look real good right now.
That's a great idea. I don't see them doing it. Like, I don't know if you've seen what Charles Barkley said. He went off on an interview with it's somebody I really don't like. I forgot the guy's name. But he was going in and he was ripping the NBA, saying the NBA is going to be cooked just now because of the amount of money the NBA took. So apparently what they did is they took money from all the major broadcasting stations to broadcast.
Oh, yeah. I seen what Charles said.
Yeah, and Charles was saying, like,
he's saying we're in trouble. The fans in trouble because basically, and this is something we've had to deal with up here in Canada for a long time, with our broadcast being split halfway between TSN and Sportsnet. With the Leafs get shown on CBC for free on Saturday night on regular antenna channel. You don't have to have any cable or nothing. You can watch the Leafs play. But the Raptors, it's always been this way. You have to pay premium prices for cable packages. And not only, like, at this point, not just like it's like you can't get Sportsnet on Bell at this point. Like, if you have Bell internet, you can't get Sportsnet channels. It's crazy. You have to have Rogers cable to get Sportsnet. So you can't see half of the Raptors games unless you get packages. If you get an NBA League Pass, maybe if you get this or that. And they made it really hard and expensive for Raptors fans to watch all 82 of the Raptors games on TV. And, well, that's what's happened on the major level of the whole NBA now, is what Charles is saying, because we have Peacock and NBC coming back. We've got ESPN still involved and Amazon coming in. Well, people are going to have to pay for 3 separate different packages if they want to cover all of the games that they want to watch. Every single game the NBA is going to broadcast nationally. That's what it is. Charles is complaining for the fans, saying that this is bad for the fans because there's going to be so many ways that we have to pay to see the game. I like when the Suns said, all right, all of our games are on TV for free. No more cable. Matasheba is amazing for doing that. And honestly, I wish the Raptors were more like this here, but in some ways that's the way they make them premium. That's the way that they keep people away from watching the Raptors too much, is because it's expensive to watch them. And meanwhile, the Leafs and the Blue Jays, it's real easy to watch them. And you get all the, I think the Jays are only on Sportsnet. They're not on TSN at all, are they? So
Right. No, they're just Sportsnet.
Yeah. So, yeah, I understand what Barkley's saying. And I agree with him. It's messed up. Yeah. So you have an overtime today, Seymour, or you want to get out of your? It sounds like you're not at work today. You just hanging out?
No, I'm here. I'm just waiting for these trucks to pull up. I literally, man, like I'm stressing out right now because
they're behind.
I have over 17 schools to send all these chairs and desks, and it's just ridiculous right now. And the schools are calling; they want their product, but we just hold the stuff and pack it. We're not the delivery service,
right? So you're waiting for a truck to show up, and then you're gonna hurry up and throw a bunch of chairs in there and get them gone right away.
Yeah, because we send stuff out for half of Saskatchewan, Southern Alberta, and all of BC.
Oh, wow.
So,
wow.
Yeah.
That's a big region, and that you're the hub. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it comes up from Temple, all the stuff comes from Temple, Texas. Like all these chairs, and, well, at least on the west side of Canada, all the school supplies is all Temple, Texas.
Huh. Interesting. Well, all right, Seymour. Well, listen, man, it's always a joy to catch up with you and do 4 quarters with the Sheriff Seymour Pape. If you have anything you'd like to add at the end here.
Go Temple, go Raptors, keep it Toronto.
That's right.
Y'all have a great day.
Scarborough Shooting Stars, Calgary Surge. Boom goes the dynamite. There's the Sheriff Seymour Pape dropping in and giving us 4 quarters of talk. I appreciate Seymour. I hope that truck shows up soon and he can get this done and the stress goes away. Honestly, I know how that is. Seriously, when you can't control what's going on in your morning right then, and you're like, man, you got to depend on somebody. Ooh, it can be stressful, especially when you have your part in the conveyor belt to do, and they're holding you up. That's right. Infamous saying this needs to be a very harsh punishment. So do you guys think that they should kick Steve Ballmer out? Let's go do a poll real quick. All right. Should Steve Ballmer be banned from ownership? From NBA ownership. All right, guys. It's a yes or no question. Starting the poll. Let's see what you guys say. Our poll today is, should Steve Ballmer be banned from NBA ownership for what he did? Yeah, what he did. 100% is the first vote. People say it. 100%. That's right. He should be banned. All right, let me see where I'm at in my chat. Let me make sure I don't miss any comments. I am with Fiercey here. Fiercey saying, good morning, fam, and happy Thursday. Good morning to you, MJ. Hope you're having a fantastic Thursday. The weekend is almost here. It's raining here in Ontario right now. I love the rain coming down on my fruit trees, feeding my fruit trees. That's right. Randolph Phillips is here. Good morning to Randolph. Blessings, beloved Raptor Freaks family. No matter how carefully you hide the truth, good or bad, it will eventually surface and be known. To be a good person is to live truthfully. There you go. There you go. Yeah, I mean, in some ways it's sad. This world is sad because the veil is lifted and we see the ugliness of humanity, that power corrupts, that greed is a very ugly, powerful thing in this world right now. And that in some ways, that's the truth of the reality. Well, the truth is also the power of the people, and the power will come back to the people. And I believe that too. Blessings to the Phillips family. Now, all the Raptor Freak families out there, thank you, Randolph, for your words of wisdom. Always a joy to have you in the chat. Kaloy saying Kawhi and Uncle Dennis are freaking sharks. Haha, bored man greedy. Yeah, I don't even know if it's that. I think that Steve Ballmer, because he's so wealthy, he's easy to throw money around. It's probably not even like, it could have been Uncle Dennis and Steve were sitting down. He's like, hey, Uncle Dennis, come in here. I want to talk to you. Listen. We're going to get your nephew on our team, and we're going to love it. Listen, we're going to take care of him. Yeah, what are you going to do, Steve? Well, listen, first of all, I've got a great car for you and a place for you, and we'll take care of that. But also, I have some ideas for what we can do for him. I happen to have just an extra $28 million sitting around. I think that we could somehow find that way to go to you. Oh, really, Steve Ballmer? Who knows if they demanded this? Maybe Steve Ballmer's crazy and he's just like, yeah, I'll give you 28 million on the side, because he has been spending a lot of money in a lot of crazy ways, That's right. Smooth saying, I was reading Kawhi told Larry Tenenbaum that he wanted 15 million in endorsements as well as other perks before considering the Raptors. Larry secured the endorsement and Leonard signed with the Clippers. Larry was livid. He was very, very angry. Wow. Larry Tenenbaum's a beautiful, benevolent person. Like, seriously. Like, what happened? JYD got traded, and JYD's daughter went and lived with Larry Tenenbaum for her last couple years at high school in Toronto. He's done things above and beyond for different people in different places. He flew Vince Carter to his graduation on that day, even though he probably didn't want to. He's probably like, Vince, why don't you just stay here? I really want to go, Larry. All right, here's my jet. You go on, get back as soon as you can. We need to beat the Sixers tonight, But yeah, he tried to work with Kawhi, and Kawhi, yeah, he welched on the deal. He did not do what he said he was going to do. It's like Larry went got the cargo jet. Larry went got this and that. And well, Kawhi didn't own up to his end of the bargain. It is what it is. I could see Larry Tenenbaum being upset. I could see him being upset about that. That's right. I would think we were all upset at that time. That's right. We were trying to court him, and well, he rejected us. And that's sad because in some ways, you know what, Kawhi, you rejected a really, really good situation. And you went to a situation, well, that has been what it has been. And that's just the truth. That's just the truth right there. Kawhi saying, I think those are valid endorsements, though. Kawhi didn't want to do no endorsement work. Laugh out loud. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've seen him endorsing Cargo Jet. Like, seriously. You know, there you could maybe go to Cargo Jet's website and you'll see a Kawhi Leonard on there somewhere at some point, or on their Instagram or something like Kawhi Leonard endorses Cargo Jet. I mean, how lazy is that? Like, seriously, how lazy is that you don't even cover up your tracks? It's like a no appearance endorsement deal. Like, seriously, just put an Instagram post up. Just fucking tape something for 5 minutes, Kawhi. Then you could fucking be in the clear on this shit. But because you're so damn lazy and you didn't want to do it, now you guys are in trouble. It's like Steve Ballmer should have been like, Kawhi, all you need to do is just film a cameo real quick. Just say, hi, I'm Kawhi Leonard. Cargo Jet is great. I fly all over the place with it. Thank you. You know, that's all they needed to do to cover their tracks and make this is a legitimate endorsement. No, whoever came up with the non-appearance endorsement contract, you're fucked. You're an idiot. In some ways, that's not covering your tracks. That's just basically saying, here, we're giving him free money for doing nothing. Like, seriously, how hard would have it been to get Kawhi just to do like 2 things to do it? I mean, Kawhi went to Giants of Africa with Masai. He flew all the way to Africa and went out there and did all kinds of stuff for Masai Ujiri in Africa this summer. How the hell could he not do just the simplest of littlest things for aspiration? Well, because that's exactly what this was. And Steve Ballmer's dead to rights, guilty. Seriously. I mean, if they really wanted to make it look on the up and up, Kawhi should have at least made a social media post or some sort of thing. I mean, seriously, maybe this is how they'll do it going forward. If there's going to be teams that are doing this shit on the sly, no, listen, we can't do this. Kawhi and Steve Ballmer, you have to do at least one appearance. You have to be in the commercial. I'm sorry. It'll make everything legit. it's like crazy, man. It's crazy. Kawhi saying this makes sense, though. If everything was on the up and up, I don't think anyone else could have left a championship team like that in 2019 with Kawhi and the Raps. It's such a weird, special situation. The Raptors are a special, unique team. And, well, this was a special, unique situation. And in some ways, haters in the NBA and the marketing and the idea of what they wanted to happen in the league, you know, this is the thing Raptors fans don't understand. We're competing in a league that doesn't totally want us to be one of the top teams. We have to understand this. And when we rise up to the top and float to the top like the cream of the crop, and we're up there, there are people pushing us down. There are people pushing us back under. They want to. And that's what happened since our championship. You know, people want to say Bobby and Masai were failing. Bullshit, man. Those guys were going through a pandemic, a relocation, and a league that was actively trying to dismantle them at the same time. You know, that was the reason why one or two of our main players left every year after our championship. Because in some ways, the NBA was pressurizing us to be busted up. Seriously. You know, if they really wanted the Raptors to be a top team, they would have helped us keep Kawhi instead of pressuring him to leave. And that's what I have to say to Raptors fans. Open your eyes. Our enemies aren't within our team. Our front office kicks a lot of ass, and they do their best considering the very difficult, specific, unique settings that we have here that nobody else deals with. So in some ways, I would say, remember Masai better and understand that Bobby and them, they're badasses because they have had to work against things not being helpful. They have not had the privilege of teams like Boston, Philadelphia, New York, and LA Lakers, or even the Clippers. We'll see. No, we've had to fight against a relocation to Tampa and a pandemic that interrupted our most successful Raptors season ever. So it's like, you know, we had the best record the Raptors have ever had when COVID hit. We had our best year record-wise as a team, better than the championship year without Kawhi, with Marc Gasol, Serge Ibaka, Kyle Lowry, and the rest of them still on the team. That's right. That's right. Let's keep going. Shaq Lindsay saying Moose's Masai freed us from the oppressed Uncle Ballmer reign, freed us from selfish, self-empowered, inconsiderate, fake all-star Kawhi Leonard. Yeah. So you're talking about Masai freed us from the oppressed uncle? Oh yeah, from Uncle Dennis. Yeah, I mean, if they were running the team in LA since he left Toronto, then they've done a very poor job. I mean, is this another one? Like, is Kawhi saying, yeah, get Chris Paul, get Bradley Beal. Yeah, I like those guys. Let's play with them. Let's make an all-star team from 2015. It's like, oh my gosh, come on now. I mean, if Uncle Dennis is the GM on the download of the Clippers, you see the success they've gotten. And honestly, you know what? The karmic retribution for the Clippers was exactly what happened when they had to get Paul George in the SGA. That's the karmic retribution. You know, in some ways, that's what you get, Steve Ballmer. That's what you get, Clippers. That's what you get, Kawhi Leonard. You turn your back on a whole country and leaving championships on the table, like Serge Ibaka said, you could have won 2 more with us. Yeah, that's what you get. And Steve Ballmer, you try and make shortcuts. You try and cut corners. You tamper and steal a Finals MVP from the Toronto Raptors. That's what you get. You lose a player like SGA, short-sightedness, because you're trying to kowtow to an uncle and a guy who are so full of shit, and to get Paul George and have an absolute failure for 5 years. Then you lose a totally generational player and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. That's what you get. That's your karmic. That's what the world is all worked it out already. It's like almost like, you know what? Y'all fucked over Canada. So our Canadian that plays for you, yeah, he's gone and he's going to go win a championship with the Thunder way before you guys get anywhere close to winning a championship. That's what you get. That's how it is. And who has the championships? The Raptors have one, 2019. Have the Clippers ever won a damn championship? No, they have not. And then also, SGA's got that championship in Oklahoma City now as of that. So who's the fucking champions? The Canadians are. That's right. Our team and our guy, Gilgeous-Alexander. So it's like the Clippers, how long have you been in the league? Y'all been in the league, I think, almost twice as long as the Raptors, almost. You've been in the league since the 60s or something like that. Yeah, over 50 years. So, like, have y'all ever won a championship? No, you have not. That's what you get. That's what you get. That's right. That's what you get right there. Smooth saying also an ownership at stake, a private plane requested by his uncle. Insane asks. You know, in some ways, some of that stuff may have been reasonable to do, but not the GM stuff. No, not the GM stuff. Cool Cat saying, good morning, Raptor Freak crew. Lowry also had a cargo jet contract. That's right. I was trying to remember who was the other person who had a cargo jet contract, and Kyle Lowry did. That's right. Cool Cat, thank you for the facts. You're going to get a dunk for coming in and recognize it. Tell me who it was. So you're on the 45 bus. That's crazy. You got 45 with Delano. And we're talking about Delano this morning. That's funny. 45 bus. Cool Cat's on the bus to Rexdale right now. That's right. Cool Cat's saying, I think the difference is, Carlo is saying, I think the difference is that Ballmer was funding that Aspire company to pay Kawhi like a Ponzi scheme. Yeah. That is what it is. That is what it is. In some ways, that they seem guilty because they're distancing themselves from Aspire, and like, oh, they're saying, oh, we haven't dealt with them for 2-3 years. Yeah, when they did the payoff, the dirty work, that in some ways you had to front go away. In some ways, yeah. G saying Silver told Larry he didn't understand the rules when Larry told him about the situation with the Clippers allegedly. Okay. Well, Adam Silver, you might need to get together with all the owners and explain the rules to people again, because it seems like the board of governors is not understanding the rules. Then how the hell are the rest of the owners understand the rules? And this is how maybe Steve Ballmer got this point. So maybe you need to go over the rules again with the ownership groups of the NBA. That might be smart. Yeah. Cool Cat saying all these money issues around Kawhi can't be a coincidence. His agent, uncle, tried to gain a lot of side contracts for Kawhi to sign, including percentage return of Raptors team. Yeah. He wanted ownership stake. You know, Kawhi and dine wasn't enough. A free condo wasn't enough. Cars, All kinds of shit we're going to be given to him. Cars are already given the Raptors. Knob's giving these guys cars, obviously. I don't understand this. I mean, this isn't like college where it's like boosters are like giving money to kids and that's illegal. This is different. This is professional. And in some ways, if players are getting deals and perks outside of things, where's the line drawn? Like, where's the team involved? And where's this agreed upon as far as like, this is our agreement to stay here or be in this city because of these stipulations that are outside of the NBA contract and the money that the NBA sees? There's all these perks and extra stuff on the side that is not being counted. That's what's got to be figured out, Adam Silver. That's what's got to be figured out. That's right. That's right. Smooth saying NBA is playing favorites, as we know. Adam Silver will do nothing. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Likely, I'm going to be right, in my opinion. I think it'll be a slap on the wrist. I think it may be just a fine. If they take draft picks away, well, they can't because the Clippers have no draft picks. So it's like maybe they did that on purpose. They're like, man, we're going to lose our draft picks if we get caught. We better just get rid of them all. Just trade them all. Just trade all the draft picks. Then they can't take them away from us. Maybe that's part of how we can say that they're guilty is because they premeditated getting rid of all their draft picks just in case they were penalized. It's so crazy, man. It's so crazy. Let's see. Kaloy saying the Aspire endorsement contract only stipulation was to be a Clipper player. Yeah, that was the stipulation in the contract. It didn't have nothing to do with Aspire. It didn't have nothing to do with planting trees or being in a commercial or doing a TikTok or doing any bullshit that he could have been doing for them to help them to put it out there like the Hollywood stars that were doing it. No, only stipulation. You have to be a Clipper. Well, what if he wants to switch teams to Lakers? What if he wants to go play in LeBron? He's taking his services to South Pier of LA in Santa Monica. I don't know. Maybe that would be no, you can't get this 28 million now from aspiration if you're going to be a Laker, Kawhi. No. That's right there. Shir Khan's here. Good morning to the MVP of Raptors tonight. Shir Khan. Good morning, Raptor Freak family. Ballmer is super corrupt. Super corrupt. Got rich by investing in companies devastating poor people worldwide. He's not the only one. Houston owners are into some shady stuff, and we can't forget the Mavs owners. Yeah, and there's also the Pistons owners, guys. The people that own Little Caesars. Some of those people are making their money off for profit prisons. Yeah, there's a lot of bad ownership groups in certain places around the NBA. Some good ones. Larry built his empire on concrete. Ed Rogers built his empire on monopolizing cable and telecommunications. That guy who is the owner of the Utah Jazz, he seems like a cool guy. Ryan, he's like a skater dude, right? He seems like a cool guy. Of course, Mark Cuban's gone now. He was a cool owner, and he's been replaced by a genocidal bitch. So it's like, I want to keep good ownership in this league. Thank God Jeff Bezos didn't buy the Celtics. I guess he couldn't if he was going to become one of the broadcast partners. I don't know. But yeah, Shir Khan, I'm with you. The owners are troubling people sometimes. Yeah. Cool guy saying, I read somewhere that Masai got $60 million for his early exit purge from the team. Yeah, that was we talked about this. He got $15 million for his annual salary, and then he got money compensation for his ownership stake for the team. That's what that is. That's partly they wanted to buy him out of ownership on the team. I don't know if he's still part owner of the Raptors because he was. And that may be why that number is that. Is like, here's 60 million, here's 15 for this year, and here's another 45 million to buy you out as an owner on the team. Naka's saying Clippers did do a lot to get Kawhi over there for someone who was gonna leave anyway. Yeah, I don't know. The whole thing's so stupid. In some ways, Kawhi's a con artist, but hey, we won our championship. Some people laugh about it and say, oh, he just cruised through and got a chip and left. Yeah, it's stupid, man. He's an idiot. And I think a lot of people would say that he was a dumbass for not allowing the Raptors a chance to try and repeat. I mean, seriously, I think that his peers would say that. I think that the teammates who were on the Raptors with him would say that. They have said that. And, people from the outside that look at it that aren't Raptors fans or Clippers fans, they could probably see, yeah, Kawhi was an idiot for leaving Toronto. I think that's a very overwhelming popular sentiment that Kawhi leaving Toronto was a mistake. I think that most people think that. Yeah. Let's see. Blackhawks saying Kawhi is the punishment. He will never play 50 games. There you go. I like Neil's statement there. He's hilarious. The punishment is already happening. They lost SGA and they've been absolute failures, traumatizing Clippers fans once again for a long, long time. That is right. All right, Blackhawk, you're getting a dunk for that. That's pretty funny. The punishment is Kawhi. 57. You got the Heinz 57. All right, that's hilarious. James saying, Lex, do you see Kawhi retiring as a Clipper? That's what Steve Ballmer wants. I mean, I thought a couple years ago he was so close to retiring, but there was a little bit better health last year that he could actually maybe play again this year. I don't know. He seems like he's so close to like not being in the league just because of his health problems. Like seriously, at what point do you just say, yeah, fuck it. I'm never going to be exactly right and I shouldn't be playing this league anymore. This is what Garrett Temple checks every summer. He has a quality to him that's kind of like honorable, where Garrett's like, all right, I will only re-sign with the Raptors in the offseason for another contract at my age if I feel like I can play in this league and still be out there and do something. In some ways, at a certain point, people like Joel Embiid and Kawhi Leonard and Ben Simmons and Zion Williamson, they got to start looking themselves in the mirror and saying, am I actually earning this money? Should I actually be in the NBA right now? Because in some ways, I'm a fraud. I'm not playing. I'm not doing to earn this money to sit around on the bench. And at some point, do they kind of wave the white flag and say, you know what? I'm actually not going to be able to play in this league at a high level anymore. I'm going to walk away with honor because in some ways I don't want to play at a lower level because I'm more hurt than ever.